إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم سيدنا ومولانا أبي عبد الله الحسين. عظم الله أجرك يا صاحب العصر والزمان بجدك الحسين. Today the scholars say that to put aside some sadaqah for the Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman heart, because his heart is bleeding at this day. He says that in the ziyarat of Nahiya, I cry for you blood, O Father. On the dawn of the day of 10th of Muharrum, Imam Hussain led his followers for the morning prayer. Then he wore his grandfather's armor and his turban and put on his father's sword. He then stood to address his followers, starting with praise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, إن الله قد أذن في قتلي وقتلكم في هذا اليوم فعليكم بالصبر والقتال. Allah destined that you and I shall be killed today. Therefore I urge you to be strong and resilient in fighting. Then Imam Hussain began preparing for war and mobilizing his band of war. He gave the flag to his brother Abul Fadl al-Abbas. The troop gathered in front of the tents where the women and children were housed. Umar ibn Sa'd, the commander of the enemy army, came with 30,000. When Imam Hussain saw their gathering, which was like a torrent, raised his hand to the sky and prayed, Allahumma anta thiqati fi kulli karb, wa anta rajai fi kulli shiddah, wa anta li fi kulli amr, nazala bi thiqatun wa uddah. كم من هم يضعف فيها الفؤاد وتقل فيها الحيلة ويخذل فيها الصديق ويشمت فيه العدو أنزلته بك وشكوته إليك رغبة مني إليك عمن سواك ففرجته عني وكشفته فأنت ولي كل نعمة وصاحب كل حسنة ومنتهى كل رغبة. O my Lord, you are my haven in every mischief, my hope in every predicament, my refuge and defender in every ordeal. How many a distress that weakens the heart, that makes the enemy rejoice at the misfortune, when I entrusted it to you and resorted to you out of preference over the others. You did not let me down and had driven away and eliminated all these distressed things. You are the giver of every boon and the ultimate source of every wish to be granted. Then he mounted his horse and stood in front of them, ready to speak. He began by saying, O people, track back my lineage to see who I am. Then he looked back and you look back and think to yourself, think about whether it's right for you to kill me and violate my sanctity. Am I not the son of your prophet's daughter? Am I not the son of your prophet's successor? Was not Hamza the master of martyrs my father's uncle? Was not Jafar my uncle? Have you not heard the prophet's words concerning my brother and I? Hassan and Hussain are the masters of the youth of paradise. Whether you believe in what I say or not, even though it's the truth, there are men among you that if you ask them, they will tell you I speak the truth. The truth. Ask Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, ask Zayd ibn Arqam, ask Anas ibn Malik to tell you that they heard these words from Messenger of Allah in favor of my brother and I. Then Qais ibn al-Ash'ar said to Imam, submit to authority of your kinsmen. They have never treated you badly. Imam replied, by God, I will never give you my hands like a humiliated man, or will I flee like a slave? La wallah. لا والله لا أعطيكم بيدي إعطاء الذليل ولا أفر فرار العبيد. Imam Hussain then raised his hand towards the sky and said, اللهم احبس عنهم قطر السماء وابعث عليهم سنين كسنين يوسف. O Allah, give them no rain, afflict them with barren years like the years of Yusuf, for they have labeled us as liars and let us down. You are our Lord, we rely on you, to you we return. He then began to plead for help and rescue. Umar ibn Sa'ad drew near to the camp of Imam Hussain and ordered the barrier of the flag to move forward. He then took an arrow, placed it in his arch, and released it to the direction of Imam Hussein's camp and said, bear witness with me, the Amir, that I was the first to shoot. The arrows then followed like rain, causing injury among the companions of Imam Hussain. Imam Hussain then said to his companion, قوموا رحمكم الله إلى الموت الذي لا بد منه فإن هذه سهام رسل القوم إليكم. My companion, rise to the certain death. May Allah have mercy on you. The arrows are the messengers of your enemies to you. The companion waged a battle and fought for an hour or so. When the dust settled, there were 50 of the Imam companion dead in the first ambush. When the Imam saw this sight, he said, ألا هل من ناصر ينصرنا ألا هل من معين يعيننا ألا هل من داب يذب عن حرم رسول الله. Is there no one who would come to our rescue? Is there no one to protect the sanctity of the Prophet's family? When the women heard this plea, they began to cry. One by one, the companion of Imam Hussain then asked for permission to enter the battlefield to fight the enemy, bidding him farewell. The companion then proceeded to defend the son of Fatima al-Zahra and were killed one after the other. Once all the companions were killed, the family of Imam Hussain got ready for battle. The first to come forward was Ali al-Akbar. When Ali asked for permission, Imam Hussain could not hold back his tears. أرخى عينيه بالدموع ونظر إليه نظر آيس. He looked to Umar ibn Sa'ad and said, قطع الله رحمك كما قطعت رحمي ولم تحفظ قرابتي من رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وسلط عليك من يذبحك على فراشك. ثم رفع شيبته المقدس نحو السماء وقال اللهم اشهد على هؤلاء القوم فقد برز إليهم غلام أشبه الناس خلقا وخلقا ومنطقا برسولك وكنا إذا اشتقنا إلى نبيك نظرنا إليه. اللهم فامنحهم بركات الأرض وفرقهم تفريقا ومزقهم تمزيقا واجعلهم طرائق قددا ولا ترضي عنهم الولاة أبدا فإنهم دعونا لينصرونا ثم عدوا علينا يقاتلونا. ثم تلا قوله جل وعلا إن الله اصطفى آدم ونوحا وآل إبراهيم وآل عمران على العالمين ذرية بعضها من بعض والله سميع عليم. O Umar, may Allah bereave you of your family the same way you bereaved me of mine. May Allah send someone to kill you on your bed. Then he looked to the sky and said, O Allah, bear witness on these people, the most similar youth to the Prophet has come out to meet them. O Lord, deprive them from the riches of the land, divide them and bring your wrath upon them. Ali al-Akbar entered the battle, killing tens of them, the tens of troops and reciting, Ana Ali ibn al-Hussain ibn Ali, Ana Ali ibn al-Hussain ibn Ali, نحن وبيت الله أولى بالنبي أضربكم بالسيف أحامي عن أبي ضرب ولا من هاشمي علوي تالله لا يحكم فينا ابن الدعي. To the immense thirst Ali al-Akbar felt and the pain from the scorching sun, he then came back to his camp asking his father for a drink of water. Imam Hussain then told him that he is thirstier than him and assured him that Rasulullah will be the first to quench his thirst. Ali went back fighting with the greatest ferocity. It was as if his grandfather Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib in the battlefield. Finally, Murrat ibn Munqish approached him and dealt a blow to Ali's head, causing him to fall on his horse. Blood began to gushing from his head, covering the horse's eye. The horse, not being able to see, dragged Ali al-Akbar to the enemy camp. The enemy troops cut his limbs into pieces. Ali al-Akbar cried out, "Alayka minni salam, Aba Abdullah. هذا جدي قد سقاني بكأسه شربة لا أظمأ بعدها أبدا وأن لك كأسا مذخورة فالعجل O Aba Abdullah, O father, farewell. Here is my grandfather from whose cup I have drunk. Never again I will be thirsty. He says that there will be a cup waiting for you. Imam Hussain rushed to him, seeing what is remaining from his sons Ali. Imam threw himself on his son. He put his cheek on Ali's cheek, saying, على الدنيا بعدك العفا ما أجرأهم على الرحمن وعلى انتهاك حرمة الرسول يعز على أبيك أن تدعوه فلا يجيبك وتستغيث به فلا يغيثك. Life is not worth living anymore after you. How dare they intrude on Allah and violate the sanctity of the Prophet. Imam Hussain then ordered the youth to come carry Ali al-Akbar back to the camp. The women gathered around Ali, weeping, crying, and beating their chests. The turn was now for 14 years old Qasim, son of Imam Hassan. Imam Hussain first refused to give him permission, since Qasim was the memory remaining of his brother. Qasim brought a letter to Imam Hussain, which was from his father Hassan, urging him to allow his son to fight. Imam hugged Qasim and wept emotionally. They both fell unconscious. After regaining consciousness, Imam allowed him to go to the battle. Qasim fought very bravely and saying, إن تنكروني فأنا نجل الحسن صبط النبي المصطفى والمؤتمن هذا حسين كالأسير المرتهن بين أناس لا سقوا ثوب المزن. Until his sandal snapped as he bent down to fix it. Amr ibn Sa'ad al-Azdi struck him with his sword on his head. Imam Hussain rushed to him, crying over his body, saying in a sad voice, بُعْدًا لِقَوْمٍ قَتَلُوكَ خصمهم يوم القيامة جدك وأبوك. And then he said, عز على عمك أن تدعوه فلا يجيبك أو يجيبك فلا ينفعك صوت والله كثر واتره وقل ناصره. It is with great request that I am helpless when you call, but I can't respond, or when I respond, but I can't help. Qasim was brought back to his tent by the Imam, Salamullahi alayhi. They put his body next to the body of Ali al-Akbar and other martyrs. The Imam then said, Allahumma ahsihim adada, ولا تغادر منهم أحدا ولا تغفر لهم أبدا صبرا يا بني عمومتي صبرا يا أهل بيتي لا رأيتم هوانا بعد هذا اليوم أبدا. O Lord, do not lose count of them, do not forgive them ever. O cousins, forbear in adversity, you shall never see disgrace after today. When Abbas saw the death toll rising, he stood up and ordered his brother Abdullah, Uthman and Ja'far to end the battlefield, and they fought one by one. His brother fought and were killed. It was now time for Abbas himself to enter the battle. He came to his brother Imam Hussain seeking permission to fight. Imam Hussain did not want to lose Abbas. Tear filled the eyes of Abi Abdullah al-Hussain. Oh brother, you are a barrier of my flag. You are my entire army. Abbas replied, I am tired of these hypocrites. I cannot stand the sound of the children crying out of thirst. Al-Atash, Al-Atash. I want to seek my revenge. When Hussain alayhi salam saw Abbas adamant about fighting, he said, my brother, go and seek some water for those children. إن كان ولا بد فاطلب لهؤلاء الأطفال شربة من الماء. Abbas immediately mounted his horse. He took the water container and headed toward the river, cutting through the enemy lines. He was surrounded by 4,000 troops who shot at him with their arrows, but he did not fear their multitude. He started attacking them, causing them to flee. He managed to reach the river. As soon as he reached the river, he came down from his horse. He took a handful of water to drink, but then he remembered the thirst of Abi Abdullah al-Hussain. He remembered the thirst of his family. He dropped the water. He couldn't drink while Imam Hussain and the children were still thirsty. He started saying, Ya nafsu min ba'd al-Hussain huni wa ba'dahu la kunti aw تكوني هذا حسين شارب المنون وتشربين بارد المعين والله ما هذا فعال ديني ولا فعال الصادق اليقين. He filled his water skin, mounted his horse and headed toward back the camp. All of a sudden the enemy surrounded him from every direction. They attacked him all together. Zayd ibn Uqad and Hakim ibn al-Tufayl were hiding behind a tree, waiting for Abbas to approach. Zayd hit Abbas on his right arm, immediately severing it off. Abbas began to recite, Wallahi in qata'tumu yamini inni uhami abadan an dini wa an imamin sadiqin yaqini najl al-nabi al-tahir al-amiri. He grabbed the container in his left arm until Hakim ibn al-Tufayl came out from behind a tree and hit his left arm. Abbas said, Ya nafsu la taghshay min al-kuffari wa abshiri bi rahmat al-jabbari qad qata'u bi baghihim yasari فأصلهم يا رب حر النار. He managed to grab the water skin with his teeth. Staying without his two arms, he headed towards the camp, but the enemy did not give him a chance. They rained him with arrows. One fell in his right eye, and one hitting the water skin, causing it to spill, and other pierced Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas' chest. Abbas was now helpless. He didn't have any arms to fight with. He didn't have a water to bring to the camp, so he stood still there. He then wanted to take out the arrows from his eye. He bent down to take the arrow. He didn't have any hands to take the arrow with. And he shook his head first. Then he brought down his head to take the arrow out with his knee, with his leg. His helmet fell down. Some of the enemy would come and hit Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas with their iron pole on his head. Someone said, Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, oh Abbas, how did you fell from your mount? How did you fell from the horse? You didn't have any arms. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas fell on his head. And he shouted, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah, Akhi adrik akhak, oh Aba Abdullah, oh my brother. The first time Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas says that, come and help me, my brother Aba Abdullah, may peace of Allah be upon you. Imam Hussain rushed to him, causing the enemy troops to flee, saying, أين تفرون وقد قتلتم أخي أين تفرون وقد قتلتم عضدي. Where are you fleeing? You killed my brother. Where are you fleeing? You severed my hand. When Imam Hussain approached him, he saw the flag on the ground. He saw the two arms of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas scattered on the battlefield. He took one of them, kissed it, went to Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas was lying on the ground, an arrow embedded in his eye and an arrow in his chest. Imam Hussain cried and took Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas' head and put it on his lap. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, when he regained conscious, he said he couldn't see. He said, whoever you are, by the name of Allah, could you please give me some moments for me to say farewell to my brother Hussain. Imam Hussain said, oh Abbas, it's me, Hussain. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas then said, don't take me back to the camp. You took everyone to the camp. Don't take me back. I cannot go back to the camp. I don't have any water to bring to Sukaina. I don't have any water to bring to your children. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas then started lifting his head and put it on the ground again. Abu Abdullah lifted the Abbas' head and put it on his laps again. He did it this 3 times, and he said, Abbas, you're breaking my heart. Why are you doing this? He said, because in 1 hour, oh Abu Abdullah, you put my head in your lap, and no one will put your head in his lap. After a few moments, Imam Hussain was seen walking back to the camp all alone, sorrowful, hopeless.
and weeping, wiping his tears with his sleeves. Sukaina approached, asked him about her uncle. Imam Hussain didn't reply. Sayyidah Zainab were there standing, waiting for her brother to come back, waiting for her brothers to come back. Imam Hussain instead went to Abbas' tent and removed the pole, sign for the owner of this tent has been killed. Zainab said, Wa akhah wa abbasah wa day'atana ba'dak. After the death of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, Imam Hussain was left without a supporter. He looked around and saw nothing but dead bodies of his family and his companion around him. He kept on shouting, هل من ناصر ينصرنا? Is there anyone to come to aid us? هل من ذاب يذب عن حرمي رسول الله؟ هل من موحد يخاف الله فينا؟ هل من مغيث يرجو الله في إغاثتنا? Is there no one to help us? Is there no one to protect us? Before Imam Hussain said his last farewell, his sister Zainab brought him his infant Abdullah. Zainab told him, my brother, this child is dying out of thirst. He can no longer breathe. Imam Hussain grabbed his son and headed towards the enemy and asked them for a few drops of water. The enemy huddled around each other to decide whether to give him water or not. All of a sudden, Harmala shot the infant with an arrow, which pierced through the child's neck, killing him instantly. Imam Hussain scooped the blood that was dripping from Abdullah al-Radi'a's neck and threw it to the sky. هَوَّنَ عَلَيَّ مَا نَزَلَ بِي أَنَّهُ بِعَيْنِ اللَّهِ اللهم لا يكون أهون عليك من فصيل ناقة صالح. Imam Baqir says, none of the drops came back to the ground. Allah then said to Imam Hussain, اتركه يا حسين فإن له مرضعة في الجنة. Oh Hussein, leave him. He has a nursing mother waiting for him in paradise. At this time, Imam Hussain came back to his family, bidding them farewell. Ya Zainab, Ya Kulthum, wa ya Sukaina, wa ya Ruqayyah, wa ya Rabab, عليكن مني السلام. الوداع الوداع، فهذا آخر الاجتماع، وقد بقرب منكم الانفجاع، واستعدوا للبلاء، واعلموا أن الله حافظكم وحاميكم وسينجيكم من شر الأعداء. أو زينب، أو كلثوم، أو رقية، أو سكينة، أو رباب. May peace be with you. I'm going away and we shall meet in paradise. Be patient after my death. For you many tragedies await you. Then he asked for his horse. Zainab brought him his horse, saying, what kind of sister bring the horse of death to her brother? يا أبا عبد الله لا يومك يومك يا أبا عبد الله. The day that Imam Hassan was poisoned and he was spilling out his guts piece by piece, Abi Abdullah al-Hussein was sitting next to Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba crying. Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba said to him, why do you cry, oh brother? He said, I'm crying for you. He said, Aba Abdullah, la yawmaka yawmaka ya Aba Abdullah. There's no day like your day, Aba Abdullah. At that moment, Imam Hassan, while he was perishing, while he was dying, he cried for Abi Abdullah al-Hussain. When Imam Hussain mounted his horse and headed toward the battlefield, he heard a faint voice calling him from behind, Mahlan, Mahla, Yabna Zahra. Mahlan, Mahla, Yabna Zahra. Wait, O Hussain, O son of Fatima Zahra, wait. He looked back to see it was his sister Zainab asking him to come down from his horse. She told him, there is one thing I need to do. Come down from your horse. She embraced him and printed a kiss on his neck and on his chest, then looked toward Medina and said, my mother Fatima, I did as you told me to do. Imam Hussain went to the battle and charged the enemy by reciting, أنا الحسين بن علي عليت أن لا أنثني أحمي عيالات أبي أمضي على دين النبي. Umar ibn Sa'ad yelled at the crowd, mind, he is the son of the exterminator of the Arab. Set upon him from every direction. They rained him with arrows. The soldier cut him off from his camp. He shouted, وَيْحَكُمْ يَا شِيعَةَ آلَ أَبِي سُفْيَانَ إِنْ لَمْ يَكُنْ لَكُمْ دِينٌ وَكُنْتُمْ لَا تَخَافُونَ الْمَعَادِ فَكُونُوا أَحْرَارًا فِي دُنْيَاكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ عُرُبًا كَمَا تَزْعُمُونَ. Shimr shouted, what are you saying, O son of Fatima? Hussain replied, I am the one who is fighting you, and the women are not at fault. So long as I am alive, forbid your thugs from harassing my family. Imam then attacked the flank of the army which was sealing off the river. He managed to disperse them and make his way to the river. Once he was in the water, he extended his hand to drink. A caller shouted, do you enjoy drinking water, O Hussain? While the sanctity of your family is being violated, he let the water spill from his hand without drinking and returned to the tent and charged the enemy once again. When Umar ibn Sa'ad saw him approaching, he ordered his soldiers to attack him from every direction. One by one met the Imam, and the Imam fought them fiercely. After killing tens of them, and after being severely wounded, the Imam became tired. He asked the enemy for some water. Shimr said, you are not going to taste it until you enter hellfire. فوقف ليستريح ساعة. Imam Hussain stood to take his breath. Imam Hussain was weakened from the thirst and from fighting and from injuries. He stopped to rest. As he was resting, one of the enemies hit the Imam with a stone on his forehead, causing blood to stream down from his face. The Imam took out a piece of cloth to wipe the blood off his face. Suddenly, Harmala shot a three-headed arrow at the Imam, piercing Imam's chest. Imam began to recite, Bismillah wa billah wa ala millati Rasulillah, sabran ala qada'ik la ma'buda siwak. أغثني يا غياث المستغيثين. In the name of Allah and by Allah and on the path of Messenger of Allah. He then raised his hand to the skies and said, O Allah, you know full well that they are killing a man, that there is no one on the face of the earth, son of a daughter of your prophet, but him. Imam tried to pull the arrow. Imam tried to pull the arrow out, but the arrow was deep in the Imam's chest. So Imam bent down and pulled the arrow from his back, causing the blood to gush out. He put his hand under his chest, filling it with blood, staining his hair and his beard, and said, I will meet Allah like this. I will meet my grandfather drenched with my blood. Abdullah, the son of Imam Al-Hassan, saw his uncle surrounded by his enemy. He managed to release his hand from his mother grip, hurrying towards the pit where Imam Hussain was sitting. He sat in the Imam Hussein's lap. When an enemy approached, he lifted his sword to strike the Imam. Abdullah, the son of Imam Hassan, instead called out, O son of a wicked woman, you're trying to kill my uncle. The boy shielded his Imam with his arm. From his hands was cut off and being dangled from the skin. He looked at his uncle. He said, "Oh uncle, they have severed my arm." Imam said to him, "Be patient, you will soon join your father." Harmala then shot him with an arrow, killing him while he is in his uncle's lap. Imam was left there for some time, and every tribe was relying on the other to finish him. The Imam then told them, "By my grandfather's name, I am thirsty." One among the crowd said, "You will not drink water until you enter hellfire." Imam replied, "I will sit with my grandfather in the seat of honor, and I will complain to him of what you have done to me." The Imam Hussain horse started roaming around him, staining his forehead with the Imam's blood. The horse kept on circling around the Imam as if it was telling to get up because the enemy is approaching. Imam al-Baqir was quoting Sayyid. The horse was saying, "Al-Zalimatu al-Zalima min ummatin qatalat ibn bint nabiha." What an injustice have been done to the grandson of the Prophet by his own nation. The horse then headed towards the camp of Imam Hussain. The woman heard the voice of the horse, thinking that Imam Hussain had come back to them. They came out of their tent to see the horse is without his knight, drenched in his blood. They began to beat their chest, shouting, "Oh Hussain! Oh Hussain!" Zainab rushed to the scene to see what is happening to her brother. She saw the Imam lying on the ground, surrounded by the enemy. Zainab shouted, "Oh Umar, Aba Abdullah is getting killed. While you watch." He turned his face away from her. Umar ibn Sa'd then stood and shouted to his soldier, Go down to him and bring him peace." Zainab put her Ya Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman. My apologies. Zainab put her both hands on her head And she saw Shimmer approaching Abu Abdullah. He came near Imam, kicked the Imam several times. You know, when someone is dying, when someone is injured, when someone is sick, he will have light clothing because he will have problem breathing. All of a sudden, Abi Abdullah al-Hussain felt this heavy weight on his chest. Shimmer, he opened his eye to see that Shimmer is on his chest. Ya Sahab al-Asr wal-Zaman. Shimmer cursed the Imam Hussain. Cursed Ali ibn Abi Talib. Shimmer took hold of Imam's head, lifting his sword and hitting Imam 12 times. Hitting Imam 12 times, severing the head of Imam Hussain from his body. Ya Hussain! Wa Hussain! يا صاحب الحصر والزمان، لأبكين عليك بدل الدموع دما. يا صاحب العصر والزمان says, instead of tears, I will shed blood for you from my eyes.
خيرة الله من الخلق أبي، خيرة الله من الخلق أبي، بعد جدي فأنا ابن الخيرتين. خيرة الله أبي، خيرة الله أبي، بعد جدي فأنا ابن الخيرتين. والدي شمس وأمي قمر، والدي شمس وأمي قمر، فأنا الكوكب وابن القمرين. خيرة الله من الخلق أبي، خيرة الله من الخلق أبي، بعد جدي فأنا ابن الخيرتين. فضة قد صفيت من ذهب، فأنا الفضة وابن الذهبين. خيرة الله أبي، خيرة الله أبي، خيرة الله أبي، بعد جدي فأنا ابن الخيرتين. ذهب من ذهب في ذهب، ولجين في لجين في لجين. خيرة الله من الخلق أبي، خيرة الله من الخلق أبي، بعد جدي فأنا ابن الخيرتين. حسين 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 غريب حسين حسين عطشان حسين 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 غريب مظلوم عطشان حسين حسين لبيك يا حسين لبيك يا حسين لبيك يا حسين